U.S. Air Force forgot how to make parts of its own B-2 stealth bomber and now wants to reverse engineer it. In a bizarre development, the U.S. Air Force forgot to make parts of its own bomber and is now planning to reverse engineer the component of its B-2 Spirit bomber fleet. In order to achieve this, the Air Force's Rapid Sustenance Office, Sustainment Office, is looking for a highly advanced 3D scanning system, but it was reported that even such systems are no longer in production. A surprising requirement of reverse engineering the components of the Air Force's B-2 Spirit stealth bomber was put on the contracting website of the U.S. government. Mark Thompson tweets, "Raise your hand if you remember when reverse engineering was how the Chinese stole U.S. technology. Looks like the U.S. now has to do it on itself on a $2.4 billion bomber. Maybe we didn't get the blueprints from Northrop," it said. Contract opportunity, B-2 load heat exchanger reverse engineering effort. Industrial Agency, Department of Defense, sub-tier Department of the Air Force. The load heat exchanger of B-2 need to be reverse engineered, but there are several other simple and complicated components linked to these heat exchangers. The notice states, enter your email to subscribe to GGI and receive notifications of new posts by email. This engineering effort is to reverse engineer, they said, the core of B-2 load heat exchangers, develop disassembly process to remove effective cores, develop a stacking, vacuum brazing, and welding process to manufacture new heat exchanger cores, and to develop a welding process to install the new cores on existing B-2 load heat exchangers. The requirement includes reverse engineering the re-core process for the B-2 load heat exchangers, the B-2 load heat exchanger NSN 1660-01-350-8209FW uses air and ethylene glycol water, EGW for short, liquid to produce cold air for the cooling system. The deliverables will include all technical data related to the heat exchanger disassembly, all technical data related to the cores, all technical data related to the stack-up, vacuum brazing, and installation of the cores on existing units. The deliverables will also include all technical data related to the tooling needed for disassembly, core stack, core vacuum brazing, post-braze processing, and core installation. 2 government B-2 sink heat exchangers will be provided as government furnished property, GFP, to prototype this effort. The 2 prototype units will be delivered at the completion of the contract to return the GFP. The final design shall meet the testing qualifications specified in the government technical orders, TO. Finally, a qualified source of repair shall be provided that is capable of remanufacturing the B-2 load heat exchangers per the aforementioned deliverables." End quote. So looking at the second paragraph, it's quite evident that a significant reverse engineering effort will be required. It will involve intensive technology, analysis, research, and large-scale production effort. The reason behind implementation of this approach of reverse engineering could be the lack of support for these components or them being outdated. B-2 Spirit stealth bombers are highly suitable for serious combat. The U.S. government wants to maintain the B-2 fleet. All they need is a general overhauling and applying radar-absorbing material and paint job. All these jobs are done by automated machines to ensure perfection. In order to achieve this, the Air Force's Rapid Sustainment Office is looking for a highly advanced 3D scanning system, but it was reported that such systems are no longer in production. In case of the B-2s, the scanning system would have been helpful in preparing a virtual model of the original parts by scanning them. These virtual models can be used to design the blueprints for the production of advanced heat exchangers required for the sustainment of B-2 fleet. The 402nd Electronic Maintenance Group Reversal Engineering Avionics Redesign and Manufacturing Team, or REARM for short, was found at Warner Robins Air Logistic Complex ALC at Rawlins Air Force Base, Georgia, for similar initiatives. Its role is to ensure spare parts supply for older weapon systems. Quote, the first part of reverse engineering is to do an obsolescence study, end quote. Damon Brown, 402nd EMXG Rearm Chief, explained in an Air Force press release. He said, if we cannot get or find the parts to fix a piece of equipment or replace it, then we go back to the customer or the supply chain with this item and ask them what they want us to do. Now, working on behalf of the Air Force Sustainment Center, similar rearm teams are also found at Oklahoma City ALC, at Tinker Air Force Base, Oklahoma, and at Ogden ALC at Hill Air Force Base in Utah. Will Roper, the former Assistant Secretary of the Air Force for Acquisition, Technology and Logistics, told Air Force Magazine of his desire for a digital representation of every part in the Air Force inventory. He said, we want to reverse engineer parts that we may not have the designs for anymore. We want to look at repeatability of parts so that we're not critically coupled to an individual printing machine. And we want to look at the entire process of what it takes to get a novelty manufactured part onto a critical mission airplane or a satellite, he said. Earlier, as reported by Great Game India, the U.S. Air Force admitted that their F-35 stealth fighter jet program has failed. The program resulted in a remarkable increase in weight, and the F-35 plane now started weighing 25 tons. Now, this is from Great Game India. Please leave your comments. Thank you for your support. My Patreon account. The daily posts are 5 videos daily, and they are totally different from what I have on my YouTube channel. Thank you so much for your support and that you find all my content so interesting. You'll find the Patreon account details in the description box below.